let's talk about the audio chain. As you can see, every track is generating sound. Either MIDI tracks, which are processing the MIDIs into the virtual instruments, or audio track, which are collecting the audio coming from external sources. All this audio is sent to a path which is called the chain, and from the chain it goes out into the monitors or your headphones. By default, when you create a track, and let me show you, I'm gonna create another track here at the end of my grid. By default, a track is created like this, which means sending audio to master. The master is the top right column you can see on your session view, and the master is, as you can see, the master volume, which means that this one is the volume of all your project. And if you double click on the master, you can access to the effects going on into the master. If you put an audio effect inside the master, this effect is gonna be applied on all audios going into the master. And as the master is the end of the chain, all audios are going there. So if I put an effect on the master, it's gonna affect all the sounds of the chain. If I place a reverb on the master, it's gonna affect everything. And I mean everything. Okay? If you want to modify a single sound within a track, you have to apply the effect inside the track. For example, here my bass is being low cutted under 100 Hz because I need only the bass to be cut there, which is a low pass filter, but I don't need the rest of the song to be treated like that. So remember, if you put an effect on master, it's gonna affect everything. If you want to treat a single sound, you have to place the effects inside the single track. By double clicking on a track, you open it down and you can place audio effect directly there. But there is another thing you can do. Sometimes you just need to treat part of the sounds you are generating separately from the others and let others go directly into the master. For this reason, you need to create an audio track which you call premaster. I'm gonna show you. You just add an audio track, you click Ctrl R and you call it you call it premaster because you cannot click things on your keyboard. But the point is this track must be put on monitoring so that it lets sound go always through that and into the master. Now I'm gonna just delete it because otherwise it's gonna conflict with the other premaster I've already created. So when you create the premaster, you put it on monitoring and you send it automatically to master, which means that now I can tell each of the tracks to be sent to the premaster, and then the premaster is gonna send them to the master. If I place an effect here on the premaster, it's gonna affect only the tracks that are routed into the premaster, but not the ones that are going directly to the master. For example, here I have two auto filters, which are a low pass and a high pass filter. If you open up the MIDI tab, you're gonna see that the frequency of these two filters are connected to the two knobs here. Okay, you can see it here and here on the list of the mini mappings. Which means that if I turn this knob, it's gonna close the low pass. And if I turn this knob, it's gonna close the high pass filter. So, what does it mean? It means that you can apply both effects directly while playing. For now, the two filters are completely open, so that when I play, they don't do anything. But if I start turning the knob, or this other knob, this is one of the most common techniques you can use to give variations and flavor to your song while playing, because you can do it real time, okay? And the other two things you can find here in the premaster are two beat repeat effects by Ableton, which are stock effects by Ableton, which works just like this. The first one is linked to this knob, and it's a beat repeat by 8th. The second one is linked to this knob, and it's a beat repeat by 16th. They're gonna affect all the tracks going into the premaster, and only them, and they work like this. Okay, and this is limitless. I mean, as long as you have 3 knobs, you can map these effects to any knob you have by using the MIDI tab, pressing on the command you want to map, and moving the knob you want to map to that command. In this case, beats repeat are mapped to the on button, which means that every time I turn the knob, they just activate or deactivate. Activate or deactivate. The low pass and high pass filter are MIDI mapped to the filter position, which means that on theory, these two filters are always active. It changes the amount of frequency they are passing, filtering, when I move the knob. But as you can see, these two lights are always on, which means that the two filters are always active. These two are off, so that it means that they get on only if I turn them. And this is the difference between mapping a button to this button here on the top of the effect, or mapping the knob to a parameter of the effect itself. Okay? What happens to all the other tracks that are not routed in premaster? It's simple. They're not affected. For example, if I play the saxophone, which is routed directly to master, is not gonna be affected by these effects. And I want it because I want my lead instrument to play independently from the rest of the song, regardless of the audio effects I'm applying. Also, my lead EWI track is routed directly to master, which means this. Wait a second, I'm gonna just change the preset. Okay. Okay? In this lesson, you have learned how to route something to the premaster or to the master itself. In order to do that, you have to access the track and send the audio to master or to the premaster. If you send the audio directly to master, it's not gonna affected by everything happens inside the premaster. If you send a source to the premaster, it's gonna be affected by the effects going on into the premaster, and then it's gonna send to the master. Remember, the premaster must be an audio track and it must be on monitoring in. Otherwise, no sound is going onto the master unless it's armed. And you don't want it to be armed, because otherwise it's gonna be recording clips every time you press the session record button. That's it.